You made it. Here we are at the end of another year, the threshold of the next. And I know that deep down, you're feeling it, that longing, that ache, that quiet, relentless whisper in your gut. And it's saying something has to change. And today, we are going to talk about real change, not the Instagram version, not the vision board fantasy, not the just think positive platitudes, real, embodied, lasting change. You are tired of circling the same patterns, tired of doing everything right and still feeling stuck, tired of the performative positivity, the Instagram experts telling you to just raise your vibration, script your dream life, or visualize your way to a new reality. You want more than a curated quote carousel telling you to just believe. You want change. You want real change. And I want you to know I hear you because I have been there. And the truth is, you're not doing anything wrong by wanting more. You're not wrong for feeling frustrated. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not ungrateful. You're just at the edge. You're at the edge of who you've been and who you're becoming. And that edge, it's not a comfortable place to be. It's that in-between space where nothing feels settled, where the old ways don't work anymore, but the new ways aren't quite clear yet. It's liminal. It's uncertain. It's uncomfortable. And it's also sacred, which is why I say we must honor the space between no longer and not yet. This just means you're awake, you're aware, and you're ready for something different. So let's really talk about this moment, the moment that the end of the year and stepping into the new year brings up. Regrets, resolutions, the inner inventory of what worked, what didn't, what still hurts. And while the world floods your feed with New Year, New You slogans, somewhere in your heart, you know it's not that simple. Because if change were just about desire, you'd be living a completely different life by now. You've wanted change, and you've tried to manifest it. You've set intentions, you've created vision boards, you've downloaded the morning routines and recited affirmations. Nothing is really shifting though. And that can feel like a personal failure. But I want to say this clearly that it is not. It's not your fault. The problem isn't you. The problem is the illusion that change is just about thoughts. It's not enough to just think positively, to visualize abundance, to chant a mantra or an affirmation and expect the universe to rearrange itself. The truth is, manifestation without action is just magical thinking. And I know this might sound harsh, and I know it goes against everything you've likely been told by the spiritual bypassing crowd, the toxic positivity culture, and the good vibes only movement. But I'm here to share the truth. You deserve someone who respects your intelligence enough to tell you that wanting something and wishing for something and visualizing something is not the same as creating it. Because real change, real transformation requires your participation. Change requires more than envisioning. It requires new choices. It requires different actions. It demands that you become someone you haven't been yet. And that part, that becoming, is where the magic actually happens. All the envisioning in the world won't shift your life if you still are operating from the same belief systems, making the same choices, playing out the same dynamics that got you stuck in the first place. You can meditate for an hour, but if you're still afraid to say no, still betraying yourself for someone else's comfort, still avoiding the uncomfortable conversations, your energy stays stuck. And that's what no Instagram story is going to fix. No soundbite, no aesthetic quote graphic, no viral reel. Change lives deeper than that. It lives in your nervous system. It lives in your boundaries, in your habits, in your choices, in your actions. It lives in the moment you finally choose yourself. So I'll give you an example. Maybe you've been telling yourself you want to live a more balanced life. You've visualized it. You've written it in your journal. You've even told your friends about it. But every time your boss asks you to take on another project, you say yes. Every time your partner expects you to handle everything at home, you do. Every time someone needs something, you abandon your own needs to meet theirs. That's not a manifestation problem. That's a choice problem. And more specifically, it's a boundary problem. Or maybe you've been saying you want to feel more alive, more creative, more connected to yourself, but you fill every spare moment with scrolling, with consumption, with numbing. You don't create space for the very thing you say you want. Again, not a manifestation problem, a choice problem. Real change happens when you stop waiting for feelings to shift and start shifting your actions. When we stop hoping we'll magically become different people and start making different choices, when we get honest about the gap between what we say we want and what we're actually willing to do. So let's get real here. If you're listening, there is a part of you that already knows this to be true. You're not here for the fluff. You're here because something inside of you is cracking open and you're ready to rise. But I'm going to ask you this. What are you willing to do differently? Not what do you want to be different? Not what do you hope will change, but what are you willing to do? Because wanting something isn't enough. We have to be willing to disrupt the cycle. We have to be willing to get uncomfortable, to dismantle the parts of us that were built for survival, not joy, to stop outsourcing our worth to likes, followers, or the approval of people who wouldn't even notice if we disappeared. We have to be brave enough to stop performing and start participating with presence in our own lives. And I know this sounds simple, but not easy, because participating means showing up fully, even when it's messy, even when you don't have it all figured out, even when you might disappoint someone. Participating means saying the thing you've been afraid to say, making the decision you've been putting off, setting the boundary you've been avoiding, choosing yourself even when guilt shows up. It means stopping the performance of I'm fine and getting real about actually I'm not. It means no longer hiding behind busyness, productivity, or perfectionism to avoid feeling what you're really feeling. It means being willing to let people see you, really see you in your truth, in your struggle, in your becoming. And that's vulnerable. That's exposing. That's terrifying, but it's also the only way through. I'm going to share a secret. The real transformation doesn't happen on January 1st. It happens the moment you stop abandoning yourself. It happens when you say, I'm done pretending. When you decide, I'm not waiting another year to feel alive. When you commit, I will no longer sit on the sidelines of my own life. This isn't about resolutions. It's about reclamation, reclaiming your voice, reclaiming your time, reclaiming your energy, reclaiming your right to take up space, to have needs, to want things, to be fully, unapologetically yourself. And yeah, it'll be messy. Your inner critic might scream. It'll probably feel really scary at first. Your inner critic might tell you you're being selfish. You're asking for too much. You should be grateful for what you have. You're going to hurt people. You're going to fail. And you might believe those voices at first. You might second guess yourself. You might want to retreat back into the familiar patterns, the comfortable cages. But here's what I know. The other side of that fear is freedom. Real freedom. not the performance of freedom, not the Instagram aesthetic of freedom, but the lived experience of liberation, of knowing you're no longer betraying yourself, of knowing you're finally showing up as yourself, of knowing you're choosing your own life instead of living the one everyone else expected from you. But it will also feel like freedom. And that's the spark. That's what we're here for. The spark is what happens when you stop dimming yourself, when you stop making yourself smaller to fit into spaces that were never meant for you, when you stop apologizing for taking up space, for having desires, for wanting more. That's the spark we're reigniting within you. So if your soul is tired, if your spark has dimmed, if you're done living for everyone else's expectations, I'm inviting you into something deeper. Not a New Year's promise, not a fleeting dopamine hit, but a true shift, a journey back to your own light. I've created something that goes far beyond surface level strategies and vision board fantasies. It's called Reignite Your Spark. It's not about fixing you. It's about freeing you from the roles you've outgrown, the patterns that no longer serve you, and the stories that have kept you small. It's about real embodied change, and it starts right now for free at nancylevin.com/spark. Here's what you'll receive when you join my free 5-day experience. 5 daily emails from me, personal, thoughtful, and designed to meet you exactly where you are. 5 short videos with coaching guidance and tools you can use immediately. A downloadable workbook to capture your insights, your commitments, your truth, and simple daily practices that take just 15 minutes, but create profound shifts. This isn't about adding any more to your plate. It is actually about clearing space for what truly matters. This is about reconnecting with the part of you that's been waiting patiently, quietly, to be heard, to be honored, to be free. And you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to keep waiting for the right mood, the right moon phase, or the right moment. You just have to say yes to your spark, to your life, to the version of you who is ready now. Because you are ready. You might not feel ready. Maybe you feel scared or uncertain or like you don't know exactly what you're doing. But the fact that you're listening to this right now, that's evidence that you're ready. The fact that you want something different, that's readiness. The fact that you're willing to question, to explore, to try, that's readiness. You don't need to have it all figured out before you begin. You only need to take the first step. And Reignite Your Spark is that first step. I see your longing. I honor your frustration. I know how exhausting it is to keep hoping things will change without seeing evidence. But what if the evidence is already here? What if it's you listening to this, wanting more, on the edge of a yes? What if this is your moment? Not to manifest, not to perform, but to choose a new thought, a new boundary, a new action. That's where the shift begins. And that's what changes everything. Because here's what I know to be true. You didn't come this far to stay stuck. You didn't survive everything you've survived just to play small. You didn't navigate all the changes, all the heartbreak, all the disappointments just to spend another year dimming your light. You, my dear, are meant for more. Not more achievement, not more productivity, not more performance. You are meant for more aliveness, more truth, more freedom, more you. And it starts with a choice. The choice to stop waiting. The choice to stop abandoning yourself. The choice to stop living on autopilot and start living on purpose. So here's my invitation one more time. Go to nancylevin.com/spark. Sign up for my free 5-day Reignite Your Spark experience. Show up for yourself in a brand new way. Not someday, not when you're ready, not when things calm down a bit, or when you have more time, or when you feel more confident. Now, right now, this is your moment to reignite your spark.